We've got a bit of a winter wonderland going on outside, but here inside, things are nice and warm. And today we're finishing up the Dahlias, so we've got just a couple trays left of that, and then we move on to geraniums. Geraniums are going to be probably our biggest annual plant that we have, and we've got a little bit of a system here. So the geraniums on this side are going to be going on the silver cart. The geraniums on this side will be going on the green cart. The goal of that is that we can keep them in order because we have about 6 people planting today, so it's very easy for things to go into disarray. So 3 will be planting to one cart, 3 will be planting to another. So there's more geraniums over here, up here, and up here. And since not all of them will be going into the public greenhouse, we got to get this area over here, and this is kind of a disaster zone over here. It's been our catch-all, but I'm hoping we can get this area cleaned up a little bit so that we can use these benches to have our geraniums on there. That'll be our overflow in this area. So we got a lot to do today. Okay, here it is, the future home of overstocked geraniums. It's not perfect, but it's going to get the job done for now. As we use up this soil, we'll have more room. So it's a little bit of a temporary fix. So it's the end of the day, and we worked all the way from that backside all the way up, have gone over halfway. So we still have that rest of it to fill tomorrow. And then we also filled this side coming downward and kind of to the same distance going this way as well. So what we did this year is we decided that we're gonna divide our geraniums based on color. Normally we do it by variety. So all the calliopes would go together, the mojo together, the, whatever other ones we had. But this year we're doing orange, and then we work our way into the scarlets, then into the reds, and then on the other side are going to be the pinks, the violets, the lavenders, all those kind. So we're just trying a little different because we notice with geraniums, customers don't necessarily shop by type, they shop by color. So we're just going to give it a go. It's not going to hurt for us to try something new this year, and hopefully it works really well for us. Now you might notice as we're putting these out that we have a space in between, and the reason for that is in the next week or so, we're going to have trays put in between here, and then we're going to space them out. So we checkerboard the plants here, and we find that if we do that, they really hold up very well for us as far as not needing to be cleaned. They don't get the spots on the leaves. If we keep them really tight, which is what we used to do, we used to just pack them into the corner of a greenhouse, and then we're like, oh, we're just going to space them when we're ready to do that and when we start cleaning them. And sometimes you'd miss it by even just a couple of days, and certain varieties would just take off and you'd end up with spots on the leaves, and it'd take a long time to clean them. And so we find that this, by spacing them out right away when we plant them, it has been the best thing for us because it saves so much time in the cleanup down the road. So this has worked for us, and we haven't been getting quite the sunny days that we have been kind of the previous couple weeks. So we're being very careful with watering. So these were all watered in really well right now, and they're not going to be watered for days now. And geraniums are one of those plants that don't need much water. They kind of thrive on neglect. So we give them the water now, and then they just do their thing. We just keep an eye on them and go from there. But there are some other plants where this temperature or this moisture change and sunlight change can become a problem for us. So the plants I'm most worried about are the calibrachoa, the coleus, and maybe like the intensia, just because we haven't grown that one before. And so what I'm going to do with those is I'm going to spray them with organic fungicide just to protect them. We are usually pretty lucky because the fans do a good job of circulating the air. But when we have this kind of change in the weather where it's a little bit less sunny, we find that we need kind of to help them along just to make sure. I just want to play it safe because once calibrachoas start getting slimy on us, it's a lot of work cleaning them, and they do recover from it, but it's kind of a slow pull when they do that. So we're just trying to avoid it. So I'm going to just use this organic fungicide on them. Just going to spray them down. Just a real quick thing to do, and hopefully that'll just give them that little edge, just in case we don't get a lot of sun and in case we have a little bit extra moisture going on. I'm just playing it safe with that. So I'm using my hand sprayer just to apply an even coating over the Calibrachoa with this fungicide. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that we definitely are at a point where these Calibrachoas are going to need a trim pretty soon, so they're going to start growing into each other quite a bit. We're not going to space them until we move them into the other greenhouse. When we move into the other greenhouse, we keep them at a cooler temperature, we space them out, and that's kind of going to be our retail area as well. So we've got to get these just trimmed up a little bit so that we don't have all this extra growth, and it's also going to encourage greater branching. And then when we move them, we'll give them spacing, and then they'll be ready for customers for May 1st. Now, another thing that I noticed while I was watering, and my sister pointed this out to me this morning, is that we are seeing on some of these Calibrachoa, we're getting some very green leaves, and they're kind of a little tight at the end and everything. That is an indicator that our water pH isn't right, because we have very high alkaline water here, and Calibrachoa and most of our other plants would prefer a much more neutral water. So we treat our water, we add acid to our holding tank, which sounds crazy because it is literally sulfuric acid that we're pouring into our tank, but that gets the pH more to a neutral level. The plants can then work better. When they're getting that high alkaline water, they aren't able to take up all the nutrients that they need. So we have to compensate for it. Now, we have been putting the acid in the water, but we need to definitely kind of strategize a little bit better with what plants we're starting with, because we do rotate which greenhouse we start with, because at certain times of the year, we let the tank, we just take water out of that tank and let it run down. Other times of the year, we're letting the tank refill as we're going, so the acid is getting more and more diluted. Time for us to kind of get more to that more strict system. A lot of times it takes a pretty long time for the plants to start showing signs. These were planted, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so now they're starting to show signs. So these are an indicator that we have to make that change. It's not too hard. The other thing that we could do is also add some chelated iron to either our water or just treat the plants individually, and that will also counteract that alkaline soils or our water. So that's kind of what we have to do here just because of our water situation. It's a pretty easy fix. Fortunately, we know how to do it, and we were able to get it going right away. We'll see results on this just within a couple days. So it's an easy problem to have, let me tell you, because there's a lot harder problems that we can have in these greenhouses. We are on to day 2 of geranium planting, and so far the green cart and silver cart system has been working. Got our soil bins all filled up. Got to fill this one up. This station gets 2 of these tubs because we only have 2 of the carts. Here's the other cart, so I guess I better get those filled up. I have to admit, it is nice having everybody planting all geraniums, all the same kind of plant, because everybody has the same type of soil. They're all using the same size pot. All the geraniums end up in the same greenhouse. So last week we had days when we had 3 different soil types, I think probably 4 different types of pot sizes, and then 3 different greenhouses all at the same time. Things get a little crazy when we do that. So it is kind of nice having it that way. We get to, just kind of focus, and everybody gets into a really good rhythm when everybody's doing the same thing for an extended period of time. At a certain point, it kind of drives you crazy and you get annoyed, you want to change up. But I think they're going to get more done today just because they have the rhythm down. So it's just kind of interesting to see. Still have a lot of geraniums. We probably won't get them all done today, but I'd say by tomorrow all the geraniums will be done. Then we can just move on to some of those last little bits of things. I think we have some spikes and some creeping jenny and some ivy to plant up. That's it. And then we can start focusing on our custom planters and things like that. We did some of them already. And I should mention that our geraniums, we already had our hanging baskets and our porch pots already planted up. So that was really nice because they're out of the way and we can just really focus on these individual plants right now. So I think we're in for a good day. So we had something a little unexpected happen here in the Dahlias, and that's that there's one variety, the XXL Cozumel. We noticed that the leaves are starting to show signs of what's probably powdery mildew, which is very unexpected because we generally don't have that problem this time of year, especially when we have them this spaced out and we have the fan on them. Powdery mildew isn't something that we usually worry about, especially this early, but that one variety is showing those signs. Now, I don't know if that variety is specifically more prone to it, or if it's just a sign of what's to come. So we did go through and spray them with the fungicide, the one that I had done on the Calibrachoa, and we did the entire crop because if this one is showing signs of it, number one, they're right next to each other, so it could spread, but also, you know, it could just be that it's already there and we need to address it. So we've got these sprayed. Hopefully it goes away. That one is a pretty mild way to treat them. If it persists, then we'll have to go a little more aggressive, but hopefully this will work. Like I said, it's just really unusual for us to see this so early in the season, but you know, hey, that's how it is. We never know which pest or which disease or which little problem is going to show up. So, hey, we're making do. So another 1,800 geraniums got planted today, which is impressive because we decided to divide and conquer. So while part of the staff were planting up the geraniums, we pulled a couple people and started trimming over in greenhouse 3, doing up the petunias, because petunias, we don't want them to get ahead of us and start getting all out of control and mangy on us. So we wanted to just kind of keep going since we were doing so well with the geraniums, and we know we'll probably be done with those tomorrow. Didn't matter if we kind of push these back just a little bit more. So very happy with how things are going with those. We also have like 600 more left to plant, and I've got somebody here tonight, so I think she's going to make a big dent in that 600. So we will definitely be done by tomorrow. Just also wanted to show you, this is what the geraniums look like after they're spaced. We call this checkerboarding, and so they have basically one pot size in between them. So we leave a blank in between each one, and this allows them to get nice and big and full, and we don't have to worry too much about them. Well, there's the furnace turning on. Anyway, I will talk to you guys all very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying this kind of day in the life kind of stuff. Just letting you know what we're up to and how things are headed. It's going to be quite a season.